Paintings war and mistresses galore. Genius Season 2 is back. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV super fan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I'll be the conductor this time.
Yes, please.
So beautiful.
How's it going, guys? My name is Zach Silverman. We are back for Genius Season 2. We're a little short-staffed today, but I'm going to take it to my panelists.
Hey everyone, I am Mina Wahab, and I loved this episode.
Let me tell you, this episode was phenomenal. First reactions, thoughts, coming up from... You're new to the panel. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to Genius Season 2.
I didn't get to watch the Einstein version, but it's interesting that they decided to go away from the science and into the artistic realm and still consider it genius.
Beautiful, because the definition of genius is actually, I don't know the definition of genius, but I feel like it spans across any type of platform. Mm-hmm. To take it away from a scientist and give it to an artist, I think it's beautiful.
It's exceptional talent in any realm, I think.
Yeah.
Surpassing the boundaries of...
That's a beautiful way of putting it. You know, it's interesting. We had last season a few of the showrunners on. We had some of the producers on as well. And we got a good idea of what they were aspiring to have the show be. And when they got word of Season 2, we were all like hot and bothered, like, what's it going to be? Is it going to be another scientist? We couldn't figure out what it was. I think I see the pattern that's going on here, though. Mm-hmm. We were having discussions of thinking, like, maybe it's going to be, you know, someone from way back in the day, but we want people to feel relevant. You know, things have to feel relevant. So we want people to, like, be able to relate. So I think they're going to have a theme of, if they have a Season 3, genius within World War II realm. Mm-hmm. We open up Season 2, Antonio Banderas. Oh,
I was so excited for
Pablo
this one.
Picasso.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We're used to seeing him in these lead roles as like Zorro or I was gonna say
Spy Kids guy, right?
Yeah. Or Puss in Boots from Shrek.
Yes.
And he always plays like this macho, beautiful lead, and it's so nice to kind of see him being a little bit more broken down and raw and real, and really get into a role that's multifaceted and not just the suave, handsome lead.
Well, listen, he still has the suave handsomeness to himself. He's aging like a fine glass of wine, or a fine bottle of wine.
I mean, he had to shave his eyebrows.
That we haven't gotten to yet. We'll see.
So.
We'll see. Man, I don't know. I loved it. Just from the opening shots of like the theme song itself, they create a whole new panel, I guess, or opening panel, would you say? And it's like a painting being painted. It's gorgeous. I love it.
Yeah.
We start off just as any genius show would, the birth of our genius.
Yeah.
We'll go through it. We have 3 segments, I guess, we could kind of talk about, where we have Pablo Picasso as a young child into his adolescence, which is great.
Early adulthood.
And this is what I love so much about this show. The producers of this, the creators of it, I would think this show would be so boring if it was linear. If we start off as a child, into mid-adolescence, into adulthood, it would not have captured the audience.
Yeah, you know, it jumps around a lot, but I think
that's what makes the show.
The way it does it is brilliant.
I love it.
You kind of tell things in a flashback form where you have something explained based on what happened early in childhood. Like Picasso is like this because of this event that happened in childhood. He likes being around a lot of women because of this event that happened here. You can always trace it back to something specific.
How funny was it? Pablo Picasso, I almost thought, like, I mean, obviously, Pablo Picasso lived. We saw the opening shot. The baby was born, and then they're like, "We're so sorry, Madame. He is not breathing." And his uncle, I think it was, right? Was that his uncle?
I think so.
Smokes his nice big cigar, blows down into the baby, and his first breath of life is smoke.
Mm-hmm. How all geniuses are formed.
I guess so. I mean, I would never do that to a baby, but it brought him to life.
I mean, this was in the late 1800s.
Still, but
so.
it's poetic. It's so... God, what else can you say to it? It's
So there's that, and then there's the baptism. So you have that coupled with...
That juxtaposed with it.
Yeah, with
it's
the
just
religion
like, no
aspects.
wonder, like, he's a genius in every right. In the sense that, like, to the public, he's this, like, masterpiece person. But in real life, he's a broken man. Like, he smokes. He has, like, mistresses. He got laid the first time at 14 years old. I mean,
That was, yeah. That was
wow.
very interesting because you would never see the roles reversed for something like that.
No.
Like, it's just such a...
Never.
I don't know.
Never.
I felt like it was pedophilia, basically.
A little bit.
Mixed with
we got an
prostitution.
interesting look into his life, into him as a child. Honestly, I'm coming at this fresh. I know very little about Pablo Picasso, very little bit about the time. I like history, but my main focus was kind of looking at like Germany, and you know, I'm Jewish, so looking into like Israel and all that stuff during that time during World War II. So to find out about Spain, everything that's going on, there was a war between America and Spain apparently as well. I didn't realize that.
And there's the Spanish Civil War going on.
Yeah.
At that
Oh
time,
my
too.
God. There's just so
they
much.
They were under fascist rule with Franco.
So much. Yeah. I had no idea. But we start off the show with tough times. You know, we have his sister who passes away, which I didn't catch what she passed from. Did you happen to see
It was
what that was?
diphtheria.
Diphtheria. I have
Yeah.
no idea what that is.
All the illnesses that we
No
never
idea
get
what that
these
is.
days that happened back then that we never had vaccines for.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it shaped him as who he is as a painter.
I thought that was so beautiful and sad that, you know, he made a promise to God to give up the one thing in life that he loved most, which was his art, if God could spare his sister for him.
yeah.
And then he felt immense guilt having his sister taken away from him, knowing that he would have never been able to fulfill that promise. I thought that was really interesting. It's like incepting the
Yeah.
religion aspect once more.
a little bit, yeah, which is interesting because I don't know if he stayed with religion throughout. Like, we haven't gotten that far into these episodes to see how much religion actually still is ingrained in him or dictates how he paints or does, obviously not how he lives his life if he's married to one woman and
Yeah,
This
I mean,
show's
he
great.
definitely, Picasso was definitely a controversial figure. We see that with his Guernica painting, but he was known to just challenge whatever the status quo was and to make these bold political statements.
and that's what makes
And-
him a genius.
Yeah, I love that he said art is a weapon. You know, it's not just something where you hang a painting in your living room and it's beautiful. It's a
meant to-
weapon and
yeah.
it's meant to evoke some sort of, or like elicit some sort of intense feeling.
Yeah, and I mean, he did a great job at doing that. Man, I can't get over it. Like, so I know you didn't see the first season, but it's cool to kind of compare the first season to this season and seeing where like how the music plays such a factor, how like the cinematography plays such a factor to this. This show is going to be an amazing show. I am extremely excited about it. We got to see so much so quickly about Picasso's life
Yeah.
as a child, adolescence. I'm seeing the correlations between like how he became who he was, like who his friends were or are, who he associates with, and in like future as an adult as Antonio Banderas. I'm extremely excited to see more of him.
Yeah.
It's very, very. It's gonna be a
How
good
would
show.
you think of his performance so far?
I love it. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it. His haircut,
The comb over.
I'm like the comb over thing. It's interesting that he has it because where is he? Right there.
Right
This
over-
nice little
right
beautiful
over
comb
here.
over. It's interesting because when I look at that, I feel like I'm looking not that I'm looking at Hitler, but like that's very similar to what it was, and
Yeah.
he's everything. He stands everything against what Hitler is, and you know, at the last moments of it. Nothing is more important to him than his art. Not even his children or his wives. And like he has the Nazis breathing down on him, and he is trying to save his art. It's just pieces of himself that he just in France and
It's like those Horcruxes from Harry Potter. That's exactly what it is. If he loses one, he loses a part of his soul.
And I think we got a little hint of
Of Harry Potter?
Of Harry Potter.
Yeah, did you guys catch on to that? Fleur Delacour from Harry
I'm
Potter
almost
is
certain.
ingenious.
Almost certain that's who
Yeah,
it was.
that has to be her.
I love
So
watching
beautiful.
and seeing like all the different actors. Oh my god! And we didn't even get to. So you didn't know this, but his Dora, right? Mm-hmm. His mistress, I guess,
Was ingenious.
was ingenious.
I didn't know
she
that.
was Albert Einstein's second wife or first wife. First wife.
Are there any like similarities between Einstein and Picasso?
Oh my
with
god!
the-
There's
with the
so
wives?
many. There's so many similarities with the cheating. It's not cool. It's not good. But I feel like these men who are, you know, constituted as geniuses have like they're like above, they're not above the law by any means, but they feel as if they are, and so they live at a higher level of thinking almost.
I love how he says Jesus Christ is not my name as a child. I wonder if that's like something that he actually did say.
You know what? If any, I know in speaking to the producers last season, they do their research, and they went as far as like getting letters sent between Einstein and his like wife and other people, his mistress and whatnot, getting them, reading them, giving them to the actors so they can understand the emotions. So I'm fairly certain, you know, these guys, when they came together to put season 2 together, what is there is, I'm almost certain most of it has happened. There's not a lot of like, let's just make this up to make it more spicy for TV.
To sensationalize it.
Sensationalize it. Yeah. Oh man,
it's so good. I'm honestly so excited for the future.
I'm happy that you're on it.
Well.
Yeah, it's good.
And it's just also, I did a little bit of research before the show, and it was just
I need
so
to do that.
it was so interesting to see the similarities between Antonio Banderas, the actor in real life, and Picasso. I mean, they both grew up in Malaga. He actually lived a block away from where Picasso grew up. So when he was a kid, he would always like go around the corner and be like, "Oh, Picasso.
Picasso walked
cool.
these streets.
Like Picasso
smoked his cigarette.
Yeah, exactly.
Had sex with a whore over there."
Yeah, and they both actually left Spain to pursue their dreams. So Picasso went to Paris, and Antonio Banderas eventually, after studying in Spain, came to the United States.
We should look up to see if there's any quotes about Antonio Banderas speaking about getting access to this role, because I'm sure it was a huge inspiration for him. And must
he's
have been,
the perfect fit for it. It made
my God,
the most
amazing.
sense.
I love it. The accent, everything is just. Do you like the, I guess, mid-adolescence in Antonio Banderas or mid-adolescence?
I thought he
Pablo
was.
Picasso?
I've never seen that actor before,
don't know
but
who that
I
actor is.
think he's
I'll get a name for him.
phenomenal. He's phenomenal. I think he did such a great job, kind of, seeming boyish, but at the same time, like this ambitious painter that was slowly becoming corrupted by this machismo culture.
Machismo culture. That's bohemian. I feel like they're coming into the bohemian age almost of like, screw government and all these things and like love and art and yeah.
They're the original hipsters.
They are the original hipsters. Oh man. It's fun. It's cool. We have a
little, you know who young Picasso could have really benefited from, like as a mentor? Maria Menounos.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Please tell me.
She would have been amazing. So, if you guys want to have fun, learn, and grow in all areas of your life, not just art, we have the podcast for you. It's called Conversations with Maria Menounos, podcast edition, and it's hosted by our AFTERBUZZ TV founder, and it drops every Friday on iTunes. Conversations with Maria Menounos features celebrity and influencer interviews, along with secrets and tips on how to be better in all aspects of life. From health and wellness to career, relationships, finances, and more, let our Maria be the big sister you've always wanted. So just go to iTunes and subscribe to Conversations with Maria Menounos for free, you guys. This is an amazing deal. And make sure to rate and comment, and when you do, let Maria know that it was us, the Genius panel, that sent you guys there. Conversations with Maria Menounos, podcast edition. Check it out, because she honestly gives some amazing career advice.
She's
so
great.
If you want to be a painter, a host,
Seriously.
a reporter, an artist, whatever you want to be,
Or a genius.
Or a genius. Yes.
Well,
or
I
a genius.
think you're born a genius.
Yeah. Do you think it's more nature than nurture? Because there's the genetics component of it, but I feel like you can kind of nurture that. I mean, if Picasso was raised by wolves, would he be Picasso?
No, obviously not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, some nurture comes into it. See, this is what's interesting, because when we had Albert Einstein, his father was very against everything that he was doing and was just like, no, you have to go to school, you have to do this and that. And he was breaking out of the mold and be like, this is not how I want to live my life. And they actually didn't talk for a number of years until his father was sick. And then he finally talked to him before he passed. Mm-hmm. Where we have the difference of Pablo Picasso, his father is a painter. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize his lineage of artistry is because of his father. Mm-hmm. And the shots that they paired it with, where he was a child and his father, he was like, oh, but father, I wish I could paint like you. And he's like, I will teach you. And then it jumps to our first shot of Antonio Banderas as Pablo Picasso with, I guess, his daughter. right?
And they're doing the finger
and
painting,
the finger
and he's
painting.
talking about pigeon painting.
It was amazing. I'm really excited. I love the jump shots, the jump cuts. I know it's going to be a little bit hard to kind of navigate our show here, but you know, I think that's what makes the story so great. I don't want to see.
I also love, the reason I love that scene, in addition to the cinematography and the music and everything else, is that it shows the soft side of Picasso. So the fact that he can be a nurturing, kind dad, and you know, we see that when he was a kid, the love that he had for his sister.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to see that carried out through adulthood, and see the little slivers of that love.
I know. When I think of Pablo Picasso, I think of a very corrupt man who, I mean, he did beautiful artwork, but that beautiful artwork was also very, not mutilated, but very tortured soul-esque almost, which stems from something. And we're getting to see that.
That's how the best art is formed.
That is how the best art
You know, like
is
Adele
formed.
doesn't have a good album unless she's going through some sort of intense
A breakup, a divorce, or
depression.
something.
Taylor Swift doesn't come out with music unless she's
Let's
broken
not-
up with a 10th guy.
Let's
not compare Taylor Swift
to them.
Picasso. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never again.
Never again. I don't know. I like the first episode. We would love to hear what you guys have to think. Check us out in the chat. You could always listen. Be sure to subscribe to us, guys, and check out on iTunes as well for the podcast. It's going to be a crazy season. It's going to be great. What are you looking forward to? I mean, like, we got to see a little bit of that preview, but, like, yeah, what's on your mind about it? Tell me. Like,
honestly, even though I wouldn't classify myself as a huge history buff, I want to see more of the historical elements and how it affected Picasso's work.
I'll tell you this much.
I think that's super interesting.
Last season, I mean, everyone coming into this wasn't much of a historical. Like, I'm more of a science guy, so I was like super excited about Albert Einstein because I was like, I studied his work and I know what he like is. I know what that is, and I explained it to people. But like, in watching it, I've learned so much more than I thought I knew about like World War II and all that history and that time period and that little pocket of where he was. And I'm super excited to just relive everything again, but in a new experience with like Spain and where we went to Paris. Were we in Argentina at one point also?
I don't know. I thought I've only picked up on Paris and Spain.
It was Barcelona. I think I think we might have been in Barcelona, but he went
so.
to a number of schools.
The Santa Barbara Mountains.
The Santa Barbara
went
Mountains.
there too.
Yeah, that was
all
pretty
over
cool.
Spain.
What did you think of his teacher? That was his teacher when he grew up, right? So remember when he was like a little child and his teacher came up to him and was just like, look at that, and he did the Jesus.
Salvador?
Was it Salvador? Was that his name?
Or are you talking about someone else?
Salvador's his uncle.
Okay.
We're gonna have to write down everyone's
There's
name.
so many
There's
people
so
to
many
keep
jump
track
cuts
of.
is gonna make it a little confusing from different time periods and ages, but
Yeah.
we'll get it down, guys. Promise we'll get it down.
Yeah.
So when he went into the mountains, was that his teacher from when he was a little kid?
No, that was his friend Polaris. He was the one who was drafted to fight in the Spanish War against the Americans.
We never saw him as a child though, right? We only saw him.
I believe we only saw him at that stage.
At that stage,
when
okay,
he was
cool.
introduced and he came running after.
He looked very similar to what I thought was his art teacher.
I don't think so.
Bought him his first lei.
No, because I don't think he really knew much about art. He just wanted to be in the mountains to escape being drafted.
No, they were both painting together, I thought.
Were they?
Yeah.
I thought those were all Picasso's paintings.
No, you didn't
realize
see his
that.
shirt. He had paint all over him, and
Maybe he was one of
that's what he
Picasso's
said.
models, since there was a shortage of women in the mountains.
We'll see.
Who
see.
knows?
I almost thought there might have been like a little thing going on between them. I was like,
I don't know.
yeah, but
Yeah.
no, it seems like Picasso likes his women.
Yeah, or maybe he had that many to hide the fact. No, I'm kidding. I don't think so.
Don't go there.
No. But he does what I don't like, and I feel maybe this is something that a lot of artists do, not the majority, but a lot. I don't like that he saw women as just a commodity meant to inspire him. He saw women as muses, and he didn't really respect the role of a woman. He definitely appreciated the beauty, and I'm not going to say it was only the beauty aspect, because he also, I feel like, did appreciate their mind.
Yeah.
Especially we saw a little bit of that with Dora, how she was kind of this unconventional person who didn't believe in societal
Marriage
norms
and anything,
she didn't really believe in marriage, and she saw everything as kind of like this social construction. So we kind of,
I don't know. You bring up a good point. I'd love to hear what the chat has to say. You know, post your comments down below. We got to see the first dealings with this. First off, he respects women in a sense with his sister. He has absolute respect for that, and I feel like that never gets tainted.
That's the purest love.
I think that's the purest love he has. But then we come across, his first time is getting laid in a whorehouse.
Yeah.
And I guess he didn't get to see the woman naked, and the whole point was so that he could see a woman's ass, as his teacher had
Oh, no,
said.
I think he did see it, because...
He did after the fact, because he's like, no, I want to see you.
Yeah.
And this woman was just like, oh, this horny little boy is just, like, trying to get more out of me. But there was, like, this moment that he had that was just, like, he was offering all he had to offer, which was, she said, this won't even get you enough to show a thigh. He has this beautiful speech.
Yeah.
And it's inspiring where, like... He's not just saying it's just like a horny little kid. He like looks at beauty and like I get what you're saying, and like he respects the women, and it's he looks at it as an art. Not what'd you say? Not as an art piece. He looks at them as a commodity. But like I feel like in that instance it wasn't a commodity for him. It was his first delving into seeing what a naked woman looks like, and he's like, this is the female form, and he's like, I think maybe there was a point of him like, this is what life is about. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because there's beauty in life, you know. There's beauty everywhere around you. And
art is his reason for living.
It really is.
He can't. I mean, what would he have done if not art? I don't even know. Based on this first episode.
Not even a teacher. Actually, we've gotten to that where you know his father asked him to maybe you could be a teacher.
It's very hurtful. His reaction was very hurtful, but
right?
I understand it. I think it's kind of like he appreciates everything his father does, but in his eyes, he sees teaching as settling, and he thinks that he's capable of so much more.
Well, what's that phrase? If you can't do, teach.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
But I mean, teaching, honestly, I do have a lot of respect for teachers, just because the amount they take on for the little recognition they get, especially in our education system, is a little ridiculous. But what a huge blow to his father that Picasso would say, oh, I'm not just going to be some mere teacher. I have so much more potential than that. I am a genius.
Yeah, but I mean, they did it nice.
Yeah.
I mean, coming from the prior season 1, I am expecting such hardships between his father or maybe his mother, because that's what like made Albert Einstein, you know, what drove him so much further to become who he was. But like here we have a supporting father, supporting mother. Like they pay for him to go to Paris so that he could do his show off his painting that he constituted as his worst painting.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, which is funny.
Like his worst is still really great.
His worst is amazing.
What do you think of Guernica, by the way?
That was his.
That was the painting in response to the blood that had
so
been shed.
I've when you show it to me, obviously while we're watching, but I've seen that picture before. Never understood it in my life. I was like, like this is one of Pablo Picasso's notable paintings, and I'm like, maybe I just don't know. Maybe I don't get it.
Yeah, I totally agreed with Flor. I can't remember her real name.
The two women, huh?
Yeah,
okay.
I agreed with Flor from Harry Potter. When she said, like, what is this? And I know Guernica, I'm going to get so much heat for this in the chat. I know Guernica is one of his most famous works because it actually, it's kind of like making a statement. It's not about necessarily the art itself, it's a statement.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, it's just not the type of art form I enjoy looking at. I'm more of a fan of Dali and his surrealist works than that kind of, than those geometric patterns. I'm not a fan of that so much, but...
Let me ask you, seeing where that stems from, do you understand and kind of have a better appreciation for the painting now?
In terms of the historical context, I have a better appreciation for it. And also the way they coupled each part of the painting with something that inspired him to draw that. Like the woman who was kind of like in agony.
It was from his wife and Dora fighting.
And then the bull...
touches on his past.
That scene, the bull scene from the very beginning, really stood out to me. It definitely resonated because there was a quote that I feel like kind of set the tone for this entire series, where his father, Picasso's father, tells him he is willing to risk his life to do something truly beautiful.
Yes, I wrote that down.
And he's talking about the Matador.
Yeah.
And it's symbolic and indicative of things to come with Picasso. Like, he's willing to risk his life, stay in Franco, Spain, because he wants to salvage his paintings, because he never wants to experience the loss he did when he was up in the Santa Barbara Mountains and his paintings were destroyed, because he's not confident that he would be able to replicate that level of genius and beauty and brilliance.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I like it.
Me too.
I like it.
Same here.
We got some cool people in the chat right now. Thanks, guys, for being with us. 131721 is talking about how he went to art school and he could relate to Picasso and his reaction when his teacher came and started to make notes on his painting. How did you feel about that?
I totally get it, and I think it's because art is so personal and it's so
Oh
subjective that having someone tell you something that you've spent your heart and
I thought he was gonna
soul,
punch him.
it's very hard to take criticism when it's something like art. It's not something that's so cut and dry and objective.
Yes, it's not A plus B equals C. It's like X and then Y and then a squiggly line.
It's not E equals MC squared.
No,
it's not an Einstein.
It's not an
theory
Einstein
of relativity.
theory. No, but yeah, I felt so. This show's very relatable on many levels.
Are you an artist?
Yeah. Well, I haven't delved in a while, but in high school up until high school I did a lot of drawings and stuff, so I understand his pain. But I had a very cool art teacher who was very freeing. So.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. Very cool. So, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to say about the episode? Anything that we might have missed? It was a jam-packed episode. We have a short episode. We had a short night tonight. I'm sorry about that, guys. Anything important? Anything special you could think about? Like,
honestly, I just loved his love for Conchita, and I liked seeing
beautiful.
the progression from childhood to adulthood, and
we got the war. We have his paintings.
Yeah.
We have 2 wars.
I feel like they're not trying to necessarily honor Picasso. They're just trying to show all facets of his personality. The dark,
Yes.
the beautiful, the brilliant. It's not just a one-sided,
That's what
let's praise Picasso.
That's what makes this show so great, and that's what I think really rung a bell for a lot of people in the season before, because honestly, I had no idea about Albert Einstein had, like, affairs, his love for women, all these things that he, like, was into, and all these things, and, like, we are seeing the humanity of these geniuses they are geniuses, no air quotes, but we're seeing the humanity of
well, I mean, what makes someone a genius?
Exactly.
I mean, isn't painting so subjective? I mean,
Yeah,
can't someone just,
exactly.
like, throw splashes of paint on something and be like, this person is a genius?
Apparently so.
He created
Nowadays
a new
you can.
art form or a new
Or
medium.
you could have 3 squares on a like 3 different colors of squares on it, and it's like, wow, it's a piece of work, a piece of art. You know, it's beautiful. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah. I never understood that with art. Like, how can you determine genius when it comes to art? I mean, of course, like, Michelangelo, like, I don't think anyone can really deny that, but still, art is very subjective.
It is, but I think why Picasso is in that realm of genius is because of the emotion he evoked and how much he affected people in his paintings and his artwork and what it said. And I kind of have a feeling maybe some of, like, how he was poised himself, because we did get to see a review of himself when he was mid-adolescence. And they were talking about how his artwork is, like, not mature yet, and, like, they commented on how, like, what he thought with his worst painting was, like, they thought was the best. So I feel like we're gonna see a lot of things that he does.
Yeah.
And people will, like, you know, in newspapers get to see who Picasso kind of is.
Yeah, we definitely get to see him blossom into the artist that he
Blossom.
becomes. But yeah, no, I think the greatest thing about Picasso is that he created works of art that challenged the status quo, and he wasn't afraid to go against what fascist Spain believed.
He almost didn't do that painting, though. That's what I loved about it. Like, here you have, this is what makes the show amazing. You have all facets, all young, middle-aged, and you know, Picasso as he is, and you see him at the end of his age, and he's like, what if I can't do this anymore? What if I can't make something that evokes something? Like, I haven't been around for any of this stuff.
That's the hardest part of being a genius.
Yeah.
Is how do you replicate something so great? That's why a lot of success stories, it's always depressing afterwards.
It is.
I mean, for example, like, my favorite genius is J.K. Rowling, and a lot of people might say, oh, J.K. Rowling's not a genius. You know, she wrote a children's series. I think she's a literary genius.
I think so.
She got millions of kids interested in reading and hooked on 7 books.
7 books, yeah.
That's a lot. That's a huge accomplishment for an author.
Yeah.
To get millions of children around the world hooked on books.
Reading. That's great. Cool. Well, I guess, you know, that's it for episode 1. Let's get into some predictions and then wrap this up.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
For AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Cool. So what do you think's gonna happen next week? We got a little preview.
Ooh. Ooh, I'm trying to remember the preview because I honestly can't even remember it. Yeah, what was in that preview?
So we had a lot, actually, which is really cool. Pretty much what I'm thinking is going to happen, we're going to see a little bit more of Picasso, Antonio Banderas. He's getting bored of both of his women.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Both his
That's
women.
right. He needs a new model, a new muse for his inspiration. And he had so many women. It's insane.
So I think the theme of the show is going to be Picasso and his women. And paintings.
I want to paint you like one of my Spanish girls.
Yes. No, you know what? Yeah, we're just gonna see Picasso with like a lot of women.
Little Picasso did remind me of the young Leonardo DiCaprio from Titanic. Like, you know, the little
kind of
pre-adolescent. A little something about him.
I think so.
Kind of reminded me of him.
You know what? I'm excited. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a great show. Yeah. Where can everyone find you?
Hey everyone, my name is Mina Wahab, and I'm not an artist, but I do have some artsy-fartsy pictures on Instagram. You can follow me at Mina Makes Magic.
Awesome, guys. And my name is Zach Silverman. You can find me all over social media at Zach with a CH Silverman 2. And you can catch me later tonight on Flash at 10 o'clock here at the AfterBuzz Studios. All right, everyone. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.
See ya.
Peace.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.